All right, this is another video today. I'm talking about the formation of the Hidden Leaf Village, the like how it like became the Hidden Leaf Village. So it all starts a long time ago, of course, as it always does. With these stories and shit, right? So it's the Warring States period. Essentially, clans are fighting against other clans for dominance, over different parts of like the forests, areas, different areas of land and shit, right? And the biggest clans at the time, or always really, were the Uchiha clan and the Senju clan. And the Uchihas and Senju were fighting against one another, right? Two boys end up fighting each other, in the woods. One was of the Uchiha, that would be Madara Uchiha, and then the other one was of the Senju clan, that was Hashirama. And they met each other in the woods, and they were like, kind of friends, and they were destined to meet, based upon some other things, but, we're just talking about the formation of the Hidden Leaf today. So, Hashirama and Madara meet up in the woods every once in a while to like talk about things. They challenge each other to like skipping rocks and running, racing each other. See you can do this better than this person and all kind of shit. They were friends, um, but it wasn't just like hold on, like during this time it wasn't just the Uchiha clan and the Senju clan, but they were the main ones fighting against one another. And and they were also like one of the biggest clans too. Like both of those two, most powerful in other things. So other clans would ally with their clan every once in a while to like take on people and shit, right? And like those clans, were also fighting against one another. Um, Hashirama suggests one day he's like, damn, one day I hope that people wouldn't have to die so much. Madara's like, yeah, I know about death. I lost a whole bunch of brothers. I only have one younger brother left. And at that time, Hashirama was like, well, I have two younger brothers left. Unfortunately, my other brothers died too. Um, and, they were like, looking, they were sitting on top of a rock and they were looking outwards and they were like, one day I'd like to build something here. You know, the idea of like, people coexisting, not like fighting amongst each other, you know, coming to a common ground and making rules so that children won't have to fight in wars and other things, and they were like, this is what we want to do. And they were like, yeah, it sounds like a great idea, but it's just an idea at that point. It's still a warring states period and other things, right? In a couple like days passed and other things, and Hashirama lost one of his younger brothers, and he only had Tobirama left. And he went and he found, Madara, but that day he was kind of sad, and he was like, "Yo, are you all right, Hashirama? Are you doing all right?" And he's like, "Nah, my younger brother died." And he was like, "Damn, it's still like that. Hopefully, you don't lose, your last brother and other things. Hopefully, things go well for you." Um, and like the whole time, they weren't revealing each other's last names. See, he's Madara Uchiha, and then the other boy is Hashirama Senju. If they learned of each other's last names, they would know that each of them were a part of, the rival clan, and they would try to fight one another. Or, and this is what actually happened too. So like a couple days after that, they skipped rocks that day and they had a good time. But then, like a couple days later, they meet, and this time they knew that their parents knew about it. So, um, Hashirama's father, he caught wind of what he was doing. Like, he's like, do you understand that that boy over there killed some of your brothers and some of the other clansmen, from the you know Senju clan? And he's like, yo, you can't be friends with that boy no more. you'll have to kill that boy tomorrow. We'll get the jump on him tomorrow because he already sees you as a friend, so he's gonna have his guard down a bit. So they go to the river the next day, and Toby Rama and Hashirama's father is in the bush with Toby Rama, and then on the other side, Izuna, which is Madara's little brother, is with Madara's father, and they're in the back, and they meet each other. They skip a rock to each other, and it says "run." It says "get out of here," and they're like, "Oh shit!" Then we have to get the fuck out of here. They're like, "Okay, I'll see you tomorrow," and they're like, "Yeah, I'll see you tomorrow." But then their brothers and fathers hop into the mix, you know, and the fathers protect their sons and shit because they were the younger ones and shit, and they're like ready to go at it because their dads told them to. That would be Izuna and Toby Rama. They were just heeding calls to their fathers because they were weak. And they're like, we'll kill these guys and shit. And then the fathers protected them. They're like, um, Madara's father was like, hey, do we stand a chance at fighting these guys? And he asked Madara that because Madara was one who killed Senju clan members who were like adults and other things during battle and shit. He wasn't no punk, but he was like this. No, Hashirama is stronger than me, so we should retreat for now. And they got to live another day. Um, so then years go by and they're still fighting against one another. Like, still fighting against one another. Like, in the back of their minds, that idea of a village is still there, but it's like, so, like that shit's never been done before. So, like, people are like, it's not possible. So it's just put to the back of their mind, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna keep fighting, fighting for our clans and keeping our clans together. And they fought on many occasions, to standstills and shit like that. Um, Madara, you know, him and his brother, killed people who were close to them so they could obtain stronger eyes. See, they obtained something called the Mangekyu Sharingan, and it allowed them to do certain things, use more powerful genjutsu, and each eye of the user has different, things. Um, Madara's allows him to slow shit down so he can like see things better, and also, it's like a time thing kind of with Madara, in his eye. But Hashirama and Toby Rama were still able to, defeat them, one day, even with that new power and shit, right? Izuna got, taken down by Toby Rama. He used the flying Raijin slice to cut him down. And then his brother died. Madara was upset that his brother was dead. It was his only brother, and he died. So then he went to attack them with like, he also implanted his brother's eyes in his eye socket so he could like, because there was a side effect to using the Mangekyu Sharingan. Basically, you would lose the light in your eyes, so you would go blind basically. But he installed his brother's eyes into his eye sockets, and he was able to use the EMS, the Eternal Mangekyu Sharingan, so he can continually use those moves. He had a Susanoo that was a full body Susanoo, and he was walking around saying, people from my clan might have defected to yours, but we're still strong. The ones who he calls to me, still he calls to me, and I'll lead them the right way, and I'll take you guys down by myself if I have to. And Hashirama was like, you don't have to do that anymore. As you said, some of yours have already defected to our side. You know, they are done with the fucking, killing and other things, you know. And he's like, nope, we have to keep on fighting, And he got defeated by Hashirama. And he was like, we should like call a truce and do other things so we don't ever have to fight again. I understand your brother's dead. And he's like, yes, my brother is dead. If you want me to call a truce, then you have to kill yourself or kill your brother right now to prove that you are, honorable or whatever, so I can, follow whatever, truce you may have, because I've already lost all kind of shit. And Hashirama was prepared to kill himself so his brother wouldn't have to die. And then Madara saw that and remembered back to when they were children and they made that promise to each other, and he was like, you know what, whatever, we can call a truce. And then after that, not long after that, they created the Hidden Leaf Village together. Um, the village hidden in the leaves within the Land of Fire. So basically, the leader of the village was called the Hokage, which is the Fire Shadow, and they heed calls to like protecting, that area, which is called the Hidden Leaf. But they also have to heed calls to the feudal lords every once in a while when they need help too. And they, raise up shinobi. At a young age, they don't have to necessarily fight. They have to that's when the whole way of there's Jonin and there's Chunin and Genin. You have to work your way up. Genins need to be around, Jonin, more elite ninja. They can't go on missions alone and other things, and they have to be at least, I think, like 12 years old to become a ninja and shit, right? You know, they have limits set on shit, so children ain't dying and other shit, early on in life. you know, that was part of the thing that they wanted to get rid of, and wanted to see, better things for the future generations. So that's what they did. Um, However, things still weren't quite, perfect. Um, what I mean by that is the Uchiha got the weaker end of the stick, but they, most of them, not all of them, but most of them were, fine with it as long as there were no more killings. You know, we're gonna lose our people if we keep fighting against the Senju. So we might as well just, he calls to this village thing and do it for right now. And Madara, you know, knew that Tobirama was fearful of them. And Tobirama was like, I don't know if we should even allow Uchihas to be to even have a say in the village or even become Hokage later on after you, brother. And he's like, no, we'll do shit right, and we'll vote and other stuff. But Madara was like, I understand some things. Your brother don't like me. You know, he thinks that I'm trying to do this and that. And then, I also know of some other things from an old tablet that, you know, has things written on it. Um, I'm supposed to do other things. I'll leave this village because this is not what, I expected things to be like. I imagine that your brother will become the second Okage after you, whatever. When he left the village, but then he came back. But this time when he came back, he had the Nine Tails, and he was planning on, taking back the village and taking over from Hashirama, who was the first Hokage. And they fought. They fought at Final Valley. That's a legendary spot in Naruto. Naruto fans will tell you that's the spot where shit goes down all the time with not just Hashirama and Madara, but other people too. So they do that, right? They start to, battle each other. Hashirama's a little bit on the back foot at first, but then he's able to, summon Rashomon Gates, direct the Biju's attack away from the village, and also, you know, he was able to hold the Nine Tails down. Then Susanoo came. He had to summon the Buddha statue, the wooden Buddha statue, and he was able to rip off the Susanoo cloak from the Nine Tails, and then because he is his wife Mito Uzumaki, right? She was a person who knew of, because she's a Uzumaki, right? So these people knew they knew sealing jutsu. They knew how to seal shit away, keep it nice and tight, compact. Keep shit at bay. So he was able to reverse the manipulation that Madara had over the Nine Tails. So Madara was controlling the Nine Tail. He wasn't just Kurama, the Nine-Tailed Fox. He was under Madara's control through genjutsu. And he was like, I'm like, you know, after that, Kurama was like, damn. He started being himself again, but then Hashirama put him away for a little bit. Later, he would seal it inside of his own wife, Mito Uzumaki, because she knew how to keep shit at bay. She had the restriction chains put on the Nine Tails. Basically, she wouldn't be taken over by the beast, even if it was sealed within her. So they still fought after that, and you know what it seemed like was, and this is Madara using his Sharingan and like to his fullest abilities. What it seemed like was Madara had lost because Hashirama cut him down, right? But Zetsu, a black Zetsu, an entity from like even further in the past, you know, was there waiting, lying in wait for Madara. You know, he kind of helped Madara out. He got him out of that situation, basically. They thought he was dead, and that was it. As it was told later on in like history class in the Hidden Leaf, Hashirama and Madara fought at the final valley, and Hashirama defeated Madara Uchiha and saved the village from the Nine Tails attack. That's how it was told by other people, but Madara was still alive. Um, the Hidden Leaf then, after that, Hashirama ruled as the, first Hokage. Then it was Tobirama, and he was there for like a couple wars or a war. And then Hiruzen was the one who was actually there for most of the war. The second, well, he was there for the first one, and the second, and the third Great Ninja Wars. Um, but even before that, like, hold on, like, before they, like, before Hashirama was done, he actually met with the other Kages from other villages. See, because other lands started to heed calls to what the Hidden Leaf did, where clans came together and formed a village. These people would stop fighting with one another, and he calls to a Kage, a shadow, who he did calls to then the feudal lord of each land. The Mizukage, the Raikage, the Tsuchikage, um, and the Kazakage, and then the Hokage. And this meeting with Hashirama was to determine, like, tell beasts and shit. He was like, okay, I have the Nine Tails. We'll keep it in our village. They divvy out the tail beast based upon which nations were weaker and other things. But Hashirama kept that one for himself because he was the one who actually like ran fucking time with it. He fought against the Nine Tails himself, so he's like, no, they ain't getting that one. That's the one for our area. Because I had to put in the work to like hunt that bitch down. Y'all weren't doing that. So like, the Two Tails and the Eight Tails went to the Cloud Village. The Chikaku went to the Sand Village. Um, but they got other things too, I think, because like they had a weak ass tail beast. I think they got like money and other things from like the other villages, so they could build a like defense against like any other nation. So if in the future they like try to attack them, they have like defenses up in place for the Sand Village. But um, and then the other beasts, were scattered amongst the other villages. The Three Tails went to the Mist Village, the Four Tails and the Five Tails went to the Stone Village. Um, the Six Tails went to the Mist Village. And the Seven Tails, I believe, went to the. I don't know where the Seven Tails went. She was from the Land of Grass, but like I think it went to like the. Also went to the Land of Fire as well, which is under like Hidden Leaf, but like not under Hidden Leaf, because that's the village hidden in the grass. But it's also under the umbrella of um, the Land of Fire. So all that happened, and then that's how the Hidden Leaf was formed and other things. And then, like I said before, Hashirama led, and then it was Tobirama, then it was Hiruzen, then it was Minato, then it was Hiruzen again, and then eventually Tsunade, Kakashi, and then eventually our boy Naruto. But that is the formation of the Hidden Leaf Village and how it was formed. And stay cool, claw on the corner.